On Zoom, Coach, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, first off, thanks for the group that put this on. You know, we knew we were going to have a lot of young guys out there, and so to have an opportunity to see a very high-level game in November is exactly what we want. You know, we don't want to have exhibition games where there's no margin of error. This is where there's lots of margins of error. We knew this was going to be a slim margin of error. We weren't necessarily sharp enough yet, and that's okay. It's November. You know, the fact of the matter is that we give up 91 points, and some of that is they've got first round draft picks. I get it, right? But part of that is that we need to be better at the things that happen all the time. At times, offensively, I've asked these guys to learn a lot. It's a totally new offense. It was a year ago. Defensively, we've got different strengths and different coverages, so there's a lot of learning happening with this young team. And outside of these two, it's basically freshmen and sophomores that you saw tonight, with two of our guys being held out. And so, you know, with that youthfulness, you expect some of the loose play that we had. And so it's good to see where we're starting. It doesn't matter where you start for either side. They're going to get better. It's a good team, and we damn well better get better too. But hope you guys enjoyed the game.
Questions in the room?
Courtney, it seemed like your transition offense was really giving them a lot of problems, especially in the first half. Just how were you able to exploit that?
Yeah, it's a good point. I think part of these November games early is your conditioning isn't necessarily probably on either side where you want it to be, right? There's an element of game concentration. There's an element of game pace. There's an element of game execution that is a different level that you could ever practice, no matter how many days we've used our practice guys. And so I wish we could have kept running at that pace, right? We just we ran out of gas at times, and that was part of it. But their transition gave us problems too. You know, these are two good teams, two great programs, and so a heavyweight fight, you got to take the advantage you can. And they took advantage of their transition. We took advantage of the ones we could too.
Courtney, you say you play games like this to learn about your team early and learn what you need to work on. What did you learn tonight?
I learned that our leadership is really strong. I mean, you know, these two have a whole lot of new. If you take out who we lost last year, and then you take out Renaya, and then you take out Blanca, there's a lot of youth, and there's a whole new system. And so a lot has rested on these shoulders. I celebrated Indya, who's been here the longest. You know, the team that was out there tonight, a lot of new, and the way that they understand the standard that we have at North Carolina, I thought there was a lot of bright spots there. Nyla Harris, everything is new for her, right? She's got a lot of experience, but new in this program. And so I give these two, first off, a lot of credit with our leadership. We learned what we've seen in practice is that our young guys are here to compete. You know, they're here to compete, and they're here to help us win basketball games, and they need to get sharper at certain things, but they've put the time in to be better. These guys have challenged them, and they've leaned into the process. So there's a lot to like on this team. There's a whole lot of room for growth, too.
What can you tell us about Renaya and Blanca and
their return?
Status?
Yeah, you know, this was such a great opportunity. But our season's right around the corner too, and so you don't want to put anybody at risk that isn't fully cleared to do that. So, I mean, I'm sure you saw them moving around, and so we feel very confident that they'll be joining us soon. But unfortunately, tonight wasn't that night.
What are they dealing with? Can you share?
No. So, yeah. Sorry.
You dealt with Nyla Latson before.
Oh,
so that was familiar to you. Talk about that matchup and how you guys dealt with her.
Yeah, she's a great player, and playing her for the past 2-3 years. Very dynamic scorer. She loves to get downhill, and she's a great cutter. So yeah, like today, I don't think we did the best on her, but credits to her. She was very aggressive driving the lanes, which kind of exposed our help side defense and what we needed to get better at, and then our gaps, making sure that we're keeping her in front so she can't cut back door. But yeah, all the credit to her. She's a great player.
Sure is.
For either of you three, Raven Johnson's obviously familiar with Don Staley's system, but she's kind of a point guard that just sees the floor so well. What goes into stopping her kind of flow and just her production overall?
The thing that separates it, that Raven's really been really good at, is actually on the defensive side of the ball. She's a difference maker there. She puts a lot of pressure at the point of the ball, and she gets her hands around things. And so she's just a menace defensively, right? And that gets tiring, right? Offensively, you'd love to have a four-year starter. That would be great, right? But every team has its next year. There'll be a lot of young guards on South Carolina's roster, and we'll have a lot of experience. It's just kind of the nature of college athletics, right? Especially when you believe in your development of your own roster. And so, I think where Raven maybe needs more shine is the fact that defensively she's a real difference maker. She's a distraction.
No, it's the first time we've seen you in Tar Heel uniform.
Yay.
You look like a menace under the boards, really aggressive. How did you like your game today?
Yeah, I think I did well. I think I could have definitely did better. I think, man, it's just crazy that I'm in a different jersey, for one. Let's talk about that. And for two, it was just really fun playing today. I'm not going to lie. Like, although we didn't get the outcome we wanted, just playing with these girls it's actually fun and really just knowing, like, oh, my team is going to go get a bucket. She's going to have my back. It was really fun to just be in the Tar Heel jersey, and I'm looking forward to what we have for this season. Yeah.
Courtney, can you speak to Nyla's game?
Yeah, I mean, she was a problem for 3 years, sort of like what Latson was, and now for a fourth year. But we're glad that this problem is now on our side. What I think is really great about Nye is that she chose to come and knew that we were going to challenge her, right? We knew that you're not coming here to coast into your senior year. You're here to get better. And I think Indya's done a great job being right by her side and pushing and pulling when needed. And I give Nye a lot of credit because she was plenty good at Louisville, right? And we're asking her to do more. We're asking her to do more with the ball in her hands. We're asking her to do more with the ball outside, not in her hands. We're asking her to defend in different ways. And her competitive spirit in combination with her kind of genuine joy, it's a wonderful piece to our team. And I can be hard on her because I have high hopes for her, right? And that's why she came. But I bet I can enjoy her too.
Can you speak to Sierra? So her second career, well, this don't count. But
Yeah.
The second time she started, she gave up a couple of inches, and she and a couple others got that taller player in foul trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, she went from available, and she's trying to become reliable, right? As our whole roster is, right? We got a lot of available guys, and we got to have more reliable guys. And she took a step forward in being reliable. She almost got a double-double. She took care of the basketball. No turnovers. And she hasn't played in so long. She hasn't had a pivotal role in our program. So, again, it's so early for these kids. And don't forget, for Sierra, her first meaningful game is against a really good number 2 ranked team in the country, right? And so we have high hopes for her. She's going to have to play better as well. I think our interior game without Blanca, more is on them now, and they have to be better. But yeah, she's much better than she was a year ago, and she's earned every bit of it.
Can you speak to what was the trigger on a lot of these turnovers? I mean, you turned it over obviously more than you would have liked.
Yeah, 15 turnovers in November. I don't know, against a number 2 team, and I thought he was a little loose with the ball, et cetera. But we were a little bit loose with the ball. We're not quite as crisp on what our angles on our cuts are, and when we're playing off 2 and when we're playing quick or playing fast. But this is one game. It's a great opportunity for y'all to see them. But I've seen this team now for 75 days, and we are better. We're crisper. But I think some of those turnovers were honestly it's just early. It's just early. This is a little bit messy of a basketball on both sides, but not as messy as it probably could have been, given how early it was. But that's what you expect from 2 really good teams.
Do we have questions on Zoom real quick? Questions in the room?
Can you speak to the positive of the run at the end?
Yeah.
And actually the first few minutes of the game as well.
Yeah, to outscore them in the second half is great. To outscore them on the final score is better, right? But as I said in the locker room, there's going to be people that are going to say there's no quit, and I get it. That's sports talk, right? That's not something we're going to celebrate in this program because that's not what we do, right? It's so easy to quit on a Tuesday. It's so easy to quit on a fourth quarter. It's so easy to quit on a Sunday. But I just haven't seen that from this team and this program. But I think, again, when I think it's hard to really understand how many young freshmen and sophomores, and even, I guess we only had 2 upperclassmen play today. Right? There's a lot of young people, and they just, again, these guys have infused them with confidence and urgency, and so that's just going up and up and up, right? So there's a lot to work with there. And they're not perfect, but there's a lot to work with there. So in the second half, I thought they came in at what we needed when these guys were tired.
Any more questions for coach or players? Great, thanks everyone.
Lee, I gave you a shout out to start. Thanks for putting this event on.